When you're small, sharing is a big deal. I remember my older brother had a real problem with that. And so wherever playing was taking place, that place became the canvas for me to paint my plight of his persistent selfishness. You see, what was his was his. He didn't want to share. I remember practicums from teachers and preachers and parents teaching us about the power we possessed, that when what was mine became ours, and even yours. They were teaching us to share. But then my little sister was born, and she was small too, and sharing was a big deal to her too. Whatever said his, she wanted it to say hers. You see, when you're small, sharing is a big deal. And as time progressed, I wish that I could say that I did too. But the more things that I began to call mine, the more I realized that sharing is not a lesson in the rear view of my education. The more I cling to my possessions and the more power I believe those things promise me, the more my possessions actually possessed me. Curiously, it seems, the more mine that is mine, the smaller my world becomes. And the more I realize that I may be all grown up now, but I'm still small. And when you're small, sharing is a big deal. Wait, actually, no. Now that I think about it, there are a few things I don't mind sharing at all, like blame, guilt, punishment, and shame. Even as a kid, I was happy to freely give and always willing to share those things. You see, and that's what makes Jesus so revolutionary and real to me. Everything I was so desperate to keep, he freely gave up. And everything I'm so desperate to share, he fully took on himself. You see, Jesus is a really big deal. After all, it's his name on everything that we see. It's his name that is above every name. His name is the name whispered along forest-lined streams. And his name is the name echoed along cityscape streets. His name is the name by which we must be saved. His name is the name by which every family is named. And when this man, this God, with this man's name, looks over everything, everywhere, at every moment, at every time, there is not a square inch to which he does not announce, that's all mine. Life is his. Time is his. All creatures, great and small, they are his. This church is his. This city is his. This world is his. You are his, and I am his. And so, our ultimate discovery in our small worlds, what we discover is that our true hope and worth and beauty and life and purpose don't come from the things that bear our names. Rather, these things all come because of whose name we bear. His life, death, resurrection, and now ascension and restoration. It's in that moment we realize and wake up to the fresh breath reality that our true self is not found in stuff, but a Savior. Jesus, 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 all to him I surrender. You see, everything I think has a Jason label on it. It really says Jesus. It's all his. It all comes from him. It's all unto him. It should all be used to him. And so we surrender all to Jesus because Jesus is only worthy of one thing, all. And so, my friends, may concrete jungles and expectations not be your canvases for bitterness, greed, and comparison. Rather, may all of life, all that you own and all that you are, become the brushstrokes of God's gracious work in your life, becoming breathing evidence to the unique worthiness of Jesus. May your life prove that his name is on you. May Jesus become such a big deal to you and me that everything else becomes small.